Hey gang, Jer here. In today's video, I'm going to show you my setup to make time-lapse videos with your 3D printer. I'm going to be using a remote triggering switch for my camera. You can pick these up for less than $10, and I'll leave a link below in the description of where I picked mine up. But I'm going to do mine a little bit differently than the videos that you've been seeing out there. I'm not going to make a bracket to set the trigger in where the extruder end will push the button after every layer. I'm actually going to take this apart and wire it into the X-axis switch on your 3D printer. And then in Cura, there's actually a plug-in that will tell your 3D printer after every layer to go and actually cycle this switch. So if you want to check this out, stick around.
Okay gang, so here's where I got the idea to do the upgrade that I'm showing you. If you go to Cura, click on Extensions, Post-Processing, and Modify G-Code, this box will come up. Click on Add a Script, and down here you can actually see time-lapse, and I clicked on that, and I noticed that it actually has the G-code already written for time-lapse videos right here in Cura. It'll park the print head on the X-axis. It parks it for a length of 700 milliseconds, and there's some other feed rates and other settings here. So if you actually add this script to your G-code, every single layer, the printer head will park against the X-axis, triggering the X-axis trigger, which will take your photo and create your time-lapse video. So yeah, that's where I got the idea.
Here's the remote triggering switch that I purchased for my camera. Like I said, it was I think a little bit over $8. And again, I'll leave a link to the part below in the description. But what we're going to do is we'll open it up, and you have your cable. We'll definitely need to use that. And then you have your switch here. And let's open up the package. And this is what our switch looks like. And our cable plugs in right here. And what a lot of the videos are doing out there for time-lapse videos is they make a 3D print where they mount this to the printer, and then a little button on the extruder end that goes and pushes the button. But I was actually looking around in Cura, and what I found in Cura, where Cura has a time-lapse video plugin, and it parks your extruder end on the X-axis switch. So I came up with the idea to take this apart and just use the little electronic portion of this switch, wire it right into the X-axis switch on your 3D printer, and that will be your trigger point to take your picture. This is for my Canon Rebel camera. Let's go ahead and take it apart. There's 4 little Phillips screws here. Okay. Have all 4 screws out. Now we can take apart our switch here, and this is what the inside looks like. There's some tape holding the 2 sides together. 4 little screws holding this on. Take those out, or 2 little screws I should say. So this is the portion that we're actually going to need right here. Take those 2 little screws out. So we're going to take this little piece right here. This is where your cable plugs in, and then we're going to wire this into our X-axis switch. Now the center wire here, the white wire, is for your focus. When you kind of hold the button down a little bit, your camera will do its autofocus. We're not going to need that. We're going to need the red wire and the yellow wire. Now these wires on the board are kind of very small and very delicate. So I'm going to take these off and actually wire in some heavier wires to this board, and then of course also solder it into my X-axis switch. And we'll do that next. The next thing we'll do is take the X-axis switch off of our 3D printer. Here's our Creality Ender 3, and our X-axis switch is located underneath this cover. Now there's 4 screws that hold this cover on, and you can kind of feel them that are underneath this sticker. And I found the easiest way to get this sticker off is just kind of poke through the sticker in one of the corners, and as you unscrew it, the screw will actually start peeling the corner of the sticker off. And then you can go ahead and grab the sticker and then pull that off. I'll just stick it up here, and we'll actually put that on later. And then we're going to go ahead and take out our 4 screws. And the last one. Now when you take this last one, our motor over here will become loose, but it'll actually kind of stay in place. The belt actually holds it in place. And here's our X-axis switch. We'll go ahead and unplug the electrical connector. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this switch off of this cover, and then we're going to wire in our remote triggering switch to this switch, and every time the extruder comes over and parks right here, it'll take a picture, and we can tell our printer to do that after every single layer. So next thing, let's take this out and we'll wire everything together. Okay, so here's our remote switch, little circuit board where we plug in our cable. And what I've done here is I've wired in or soldered in a little bit heavier wire because the other wire was really delicate. And if you look closely to your X-axis switch, if you look closely right here, you'll see it's actually labeled. The far left one here is a common. The center says NO, or normally open, and the far right says NC, or normally closed. And we want to use the normally open, so the common and the normally open. That means that the switch is not making a circuit until it actually closes, because normally open is in open position. But when it gets toggled, it closes, creates a circuit, and then tells the camera to take the photo. Now, don't be confused with my color wiring here. If you look at the switch here, and here, this is another one that I have, the outer portion is yellow and the outer portion is red, the middle is white. The wiring that I just had on hand happened to be red and white, so you want to use the outer portions on this portion of the trigger. So far right I used red, far left I used white. On this one it was far right red, far left yellow. So don't get confused on that. It's just the two, whatever color wire you have is fine to use. It's the two outer ends. The center is used for the autofocus, which we're not using. The outer ends is used actual for the trigger point. So now that we have our wire soldered into our switch and our X-axis switch, we can go ahead and mount this back to our cover and put everything back together. Okay, so we have everything back together, and you can see I'm running a test print right now, but we have our remote switch wired into our X-axis switch. And like I mentioned in Cura has a plug-in to every time it finishes a layer, it will park and hit the X-axis switch, which will trigger our remote trigger. So if we go over to our camera, you can see we have a camera set up on our tripod, and I'm just running a quick test print here, so it should take no time to go finish this layer. Boom. And it takes a picture after every single layer. So this is how you can actually start making time-lapse videos. And here's next is a sample of a time-lapse video that is my very first one using this setup. Check it out. gang, there you go. A real simple way to start making time-lapse videos. No special brackets to print, no special G-code to write. Just use the script that's already in Cura, and it basically triggers the camera. The X-axis trigger triggers the camera for you. So yeah, pretty cool. As you did see in my time-lapse, my very first time-lapse, I was getting some stringing. I'll probably have to play with the retraction settings within Cura to try to eliminate that stringing. And once I get that figured out, I'll leave a comment down below in the description. So check down below in the description. Once we get that figured out, I'll make comments of what the settings are. And if you have figured this out already, I would love to hear from you. So if you have some suggestions on the retraction settings that you experimented with and figured this out, leave a comment and I'll be sure to share it. Okay, well that's it for this one. Make sure you stay to the end of the video and check out some other videos that I have created you might be interested in. And subscribing is always appreciated. All right, gang, till the next one, stay tuned. And remember, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything. All right, take care. See ya.